Welcome back to the BSN channel. There's another topic I want to talk about today. And this is about London slang. Or the new current wave of London slang. And actually not London slang, UK slang. It's not just London. Many towns and cities that, well, we do the same thing. We do speak the same slang. So we know that the slang we speak mostly comes from Caribbean way of speaking, or lingo, whatever you want to call it. You can call it Creole, patois, whatever you want to call it. It's a watered down version. Some people call it Jafaican. It's cool. When I grew up speaking it, I never really thought of it as in it was Jamaican or Caribbean, because as far as I'm concerned, the Jamaicans that lived in my area, patois is like a language. That's what it is. It's totally different. Even if you understand, it's not the same thing. So, and when I was speaking slang, I never in my head was thinking of copying a Jamaican person. It was always, my friends speak like that, I speak like that. And when I get home, you throw that out the window and you speak with respect with your family. That's just how we was taught. So, but that's not really what I'm on about. What I'm on about is the wave of American influence on British slang. American influence has always been high in England, in the UK, then vice versa. It's always been like that. But we've always kept our identity, though. You know, there's certain things that we can't really avoid. Like, for example, when people say, I remember some Americans back in the day when I was young. I had one American tell me, but this was back in the day. When he came here, everyone was wearing Avirexes and Nike tracksuits. And he was like, why is everyone dressing like they're from New York? And I was like, we don't even know that you dress like that in New York. Like, not all of us know that. There might be some older guys who know that, but us growing up, we didn't know that. The real answer between why we wear American clothing or American style clothing is because it was sort of programmed in our head. It's not our fault that the corporation decided to give advertisements in England on TV. So me as a kid, I didn't know anything about America. I just knew about watching Terminator 2 and watching Columbo, Murder, She Wrote. These things that came on normal TV. I didn't have cable, so I had to watch Murder, She Wrote. I'm sorry, a classic here, but it was so boring as a child. As soon as I saw the old lady just writing with the typewriter or whatever, I was just like, oh, Mum, turn over. That's why I used to play outside. Like, TV was boring. Like, TV was really boring when I was young. But yeah, as I was saying, there was half of the movies on TV were American. You know, my favorite movies are American. Like Godfather, Goodfellas, like Boys in the Hood, Menace to Society. Like, these are one of my favorite films of all time. These things are sort of programmed into us. Like, on the side of the bus, you see like a Nike advert. I didn't know it was American. I just knew that the older guys wear it. I see my olders wearing it. I'm like, I want to wear it. I was never an Adidas fan. Actually, that's German, or Austrian, I don't know. But I was never a fan of Adidas. I've wore Adidas once and I took it off. I'm never wearing Adidas. If I didn't have a choice, I'll wear it. I'm not that bad. But I've always been a Nike guy, and I didn't know he was American. You know, I really didn't have a clue. The whole era cap thing, I never got into it. I never got into it. But anyway, back to the slang. This video is mostly about this new influx of, let's say, I don't want to say Midwestern. Some people might call it Chirac slang or Chicago slang. You know, the whole drill music in Chicago has influenced not just the UK but other parts of America and even France as well. Like a lot, it's influenced a lot of people. I don't mind that as long as you can admit it. I don't like it when people say stuff like, "Oh right, we've been spitting trap music like that from a long time." No, we wasn't. We didn't have young chop style beats. We didn't. We didn't. We just had simple beats that was made on Fruity Loops or Reason or Logic, whatever you call it. I don't know. We didn't have them type of beats. Yeah, we was talking about the trap, but we never called it trap. You get me? We never called it trap. Another thing is a new word that's come out, bando. We don't trap in bandos. Like maybe in country, when people say, "Oh, man was in country," yeah, he was probably in a bando, but a bando is not our word. Like we don't use bando. Like we're probably in some crusty flat, cooking whatever you're cooking. I'm not gonna get into that crap. There's other words as well which sort of kind of annoy me a bit. I don't blame people for using, because there's some words that we use that are American, which I use as well, like the word weed. And I'm pretty sure that has an American source. I'm trying to think of what's the other. I don't say a lot of American words, to be honest, but a couple, but that's usually from the popular ones that I see in movies. But there's certain things I don't really get. It's like the original slang we speak has a Caribbean source. Why? Because there was many Caribbeans that live here. Like I came from Brixton. Most of my friends were Caribbean. Most of them were from Jamaica, St. Lucia, Grenada, like those countries. You know, Trinidad and Tobago, those sort of countries. And then the rest were either from Nigeria, Ghana, Sierra Leone. You understand? And then you had Portuguese guys and stuff like that. But it made sense, because we lived amongst them. I heard it every day. Outside my window, you'd be hearing reggae, and that's just how it was. But as for the Chicago slang, there's no Chicago people that live here. I don't really understand that. When we adopt their names and start using their style and copying their gang traditions, that's when I start to like. I start to like get confused. Like we're starting to lose our identity. Like for example, I hear people say word. Anyone who listens to hip hop knows what word is. Especially when you listen to like New York rappers. You always hear them say stuff, "Oh, word to mother." But I always knew that was a word I would never use, because it's not our thing to say. I like listening to it, but from an American person, I don't want to hear a British rapper say word. Now that's a word that the younger generation, even some in my generation, use. And I don't get it. Even popular rappers that I respect, I still respect them, but they say, "Oh yeah, word." What? Word? What? I mean, I'd like it if that word was not used in this country, unless you're American. If you're American, that's your word. I like people talking where they came from. If that's where you came from, talk that. I don't want you to change you. Don't change you. Just keep it the same. Other words like op. That's a Chicago term. But why do we say op? Why do we say loud? I'm smoking the loud. Like, no, we're not smoking loud. Because in this country we call it crow. That's what we call it. It's not called loud, it's called crow. I'm trying to think of other words. What's other words? And it's not just the words, it's also the flows that people use as well. Which, to be honest, I don't mind. Because people have borrowed flows all the time. I don't have a problem with the flows. That's why people like Section Boys, I can actually listen to them. I'm not a big fan of them, but I can listen to them because it's British slang. It's still UK slang. It's authentic. They're not using Chicago slang. It doesn't sound that fake. But obviously, you can see that there's a clear influence from drill music, but it's not copying. It's not like copycat. It's just an influence. That I don't mind. I wish more people would follow that sort of route just than copying a whole culture that you don't relate to. Like, for example, when people say, like, I'm from South London, and people say, oh, back in the day, people would be like, yo, this is the Gaza. This is the Gaza Strip. It's just like Chirac. No, it isn't. No, it isn't. Like, nowhere in London is like Chirac. I'm sorry, like, let's just call it what it is. I'm from London. 10 years ago, maybe a quarter of the way Chicago is. But now, are you serious? The police have London on lockdown. London is safer than it's ever been. Because I remember when I was young, it was normal not to feel safe. It was a normal feeling. Nowadays, if any trouble happens, you still don't get worried because it doesn't happen often. Chicago might have like 100 murders in a month. We didn't even get 100 murders in London last year. How can we even compare ourselves to Chicago? Why is it even cool to compare yourself to Chicago? Why is that cool? To compare yourself to a place that has so much murders when you should be happy that the place that you live doesn't have a bunch of murders. You know, Chicago is a place where bullets ricochet off the wall and kill a child that's in her room playing a video game. Those are stories you hear on a normal. But we want to be a place like that when we're not even close to it. We're not even an eighth of the way there. And we never will be because our island is too small. It's very imperial. It's like if it ever got even close to that, the army will get called out and people will die. Like, don't think you can take over this country and it's gonna... You saw the London riots. You saw the day after the London riots, or 2 days after, they brought police all over England from the countryside. I saw Somerset police. I saw Dorset police. I saw Cheshire police. I've never been to Cheshire, but the police were here with guns. Like, they were ready. Don't ever think you can just take over this country. I'm talking about... The only way we could do that is if there was a full revolution. If everyone was on board and just went, yeah. But it couldn't be like a criminal enterprise. I understand why the London riots happened. But I don't understand the whole robbing shops, people who trying to make a living. I never understood that. But yeah, I keep going off in a tangent. We need to, as British people, we need to leave the American slang alone. You need to be yourself. It's alright to use some slang, of course, because we American culture is on our TV all the time. And to be honest, American culture and English culture, it's not that different. That's why when I see people arguing on YouTube comments, about who created what and who's copying who, and it's really stupid. I don't get it because it's not that different. You know, like, none of us originally came from that place. You know, most people in America, like 80% of them, you didn't come from there. Your family, your ancestors traveled there at one point, just like England. I'm sorry that, to some white people in England, like, no, all of us traveled at some point to England. Even if you're Celtic, if you read the history, you came from mainland Europe and you moved to England. That's just how it is. No one has like pure evidence to prove that they were in this country since like Adam and Eve. So when we argue about these things, it makes no sense to me. Because you never created the borders. It was your ancestors who were part of history. So why would you start an argument based on a different place on the world map? I don't know, man. I don't know. At the same time, yeah, we just need to be happy with where they are. Like a person from New York, I don't want him to come here and change the way he speaks. No, speak the way you speak. If you're from New York and you say son and nah mean and I don't know what they say in it, but because I can't say it, but speak that. That's where you come from. And if you're English, don't change the way you speak. Be proud of where you're from. Even if people make fun of you, it's where you're from. Anyway, I left it too long. So, let me conclude this. London slang or UK slang is changing. That's why I like the grime scene. I'm a grime advocate. Like, I do love grime because that's real British. And I know most of the slang comes from the Caribbean, but you gotta understand, that was organic. The way our slang developed was organic. The way we're taking Chicago slang is not organic. We're choosing to do that. I never chose to speak Caribbean style slang. It just happened. Like, kids just grow up in the ends and you speak that. That's just what it is. You go back home and you don't speak that. But when you go back outside, that's what you speak every day. I don't remember Chicago people coming here and us picking up the words. No. Going on the internet, looking at this and thinking, oh, this is cool. This is what's popping. I'm going to use that word. I don't like that. Yeah, you can use it sometimes, but all the time, I don't get it. I mean, but the main word I want to get rid of is word. Just leave that for the guys in the East Coast or America. Let's just be proud of where we're from. And when we come together, we can teach each other things. But if we're all just copying and doing the same things, because we're not that different, as I said before, we're not that different. We need to be proud of our differences, but don't use it to clash, and we shouldn't copy. It's quite a deep topic. I thought this would be a quick video, but this is quite it's quite a deep topic because I speak slang with my friends every day. I don't speak that much on the video. In the video, I try to keep proper English as best as I can. Yeah, I don't pronounce my T's. I don't do that. I say water. I don't say water. I say slaughter. I don't say slaughter. I don't speak the Queen's English. I just speak normal London English. And seeing how slang has changed, because I'm in my mid-20s now, so I'm young, but there's going to be a time when I'm not young anymore. And I already see how the culture's changed. And I don't like it. I don't like it. I don't like how being fake is cool. You know, back in the day when guys say, "Oh, I murdered someone," and then you see he's doing life in prison, that was real. I'm not happy that he killed someone or he's doing time in prison, but that was real. But now it's easy to just go, "Oh, I shoot guys, I kill guys, I do this," but you don't. You go college. You ask your mum, when's dinner ready? Like, I don't know. we just need to get more real and just be proud of ourselves. I'm gonna leave that there. So if you like the video, like the video. If you didn't, feel free to dislike. If you haven't already, please subscribe. God bless and peace.